I think you're the only person in the world that knows that. I was actually in Annie Hall. I was the sexy pilgrim that tries to seduce the young Woody Allen. I was just so steamy, they just couldn't get the ratings that they wanted, and they had to just cut it. They actually panned over in the room, you know, where the little girl says, "I'm into leather." I was in the next row, and they stopped. I don't actually know why. I actually want to try to get those outtakes. I would love to have them in my little library.
In 1986, Brooke shot the comic book-inspired movie Brenda Starr, co-starring Timothy Dalton. The film's release was held up for years because of legal issues.
And by the time it did get released, it had no chance because it was, I mean, I had a little problem with some of the editing, but the idea that it was the first comic strip movie of its kind, I mean, way before the Dick Tracys and all of those, and the Batmans, and so to have been at the genesis of that idea and to work with Charles Durning and Diana Scarwood and Timothy, and, you know, have Bob Mackie do all the clothes, and the original cartoonist worked on the cartoon aspect, and, you know, the beauty of that project was just lost in the 7 years that it was held up and in litigation. So it was crushing. It was really crushing to a lot of us because we enjoyed it.
I checked on her. She'll be out in a few minutes.
Shields, of course, is a former child model who went on to make movies like Blue Lagoon and Endless Love. A year ago, she turned 30, which for her was something of a relief.
No, you know, for a lot of my friends, it was traumatic. I felt pleased and relieved. There was this sort of legitimacy, or finally, this feeling of finally, I'm at least I can say I'm an adult, even if I don't really act like one.
The road to her own series started earlier this year when she did a memorable guest appearance on Friends, playing an obsessed soap opera fan. People stood up and took notice.
I know that just the reaction from my friends alone was what I was so excited about, because the sort of whack job part of my personality was finally captured on film, and I think just the day after, actually was when I finished filming it, and during the time I was filming it, that I realized that it was a medium that I was comfortable in.
The scripts for Suddenly Susan call for a lot of physical comedy that sometimes makes the actress feel exhausted.
Exhausted and bruised. I think sometimes I miss the crash pad, and sometimes this is a whole element that was basically added. Somebody must be spying on me in my personal life, and they've seen me fall or something, because it wasn't really in the script, but this idea of adding this sort of physical instability to Susan was something that everybody responded to, and I felt rather comfortable doing.